What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay up to the Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and make sure to come to the live with the viewers this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to be a part of that stream, make sure to email truzthebank@gmail.com and let me know that you want to be a part of the stream. We can get you on there. It's a lot of fun. You guys ask any questions you have. We always have a lot of fun on there. And this one, we're going to go over a lot of kind of channel announcements and things like that. So it should be a lot of fun. Make sure to join there. But getting into this video, and, people may look at the title and be like, oh, but the Ravens could be getting Justin Houston. NFL Rumors tweeted. I'm tired of NFL Rumors, okay? That account is completely fraudulent. They don't actually know anything. They're wrong all the time. They kept saying that the Ravens were getting like Kenny Golladay, then they were like, oh, Ravens getting Allen Robinson, and they were like, Ravens getting Juju. Like, they literally just make stuff up. And if you want to hear more about that, go watch Graven's video on it. I think he did a great job explaining basically how those accounts, like, don't follow them. It's not worth, seeing it, because they are just able to make stuff up and then just say like, oh, it's a rumor. Like, no, it's not a rumor. It's literally just completely made up. Like, it's not like they have any sources or things like that. Now, when somebody gets signed, they will tweet out and be like, this guy got signed. But follow Adam Schefter. Follow Ian Rappaport. They actually know what they're talking about. They haven't said anything about Justin Houston. Jeff Zrebiec hasn't said anything about Justin Houston. Jamison Hensley has not said anything about Justin Houston. No actual sources close to the Ravens have been coming out saying like, oh, Ravens. Now, could the Ravens sign Justin Houston? Yeah. But from what it looks like right now, the Ravens aren't going to. And I'm going to treat this video as such. And so that begs the question, can the Ravens, pass rush by committee strategy work? Because that is what it appears that the Ravens will be going with. Their primary pass rushers will be, Odafe Oweh, Tyus Bowser on the outside, also including Pernell McPhee, Dalen Hayes. And then on the inside, Calais Campbell and Justin Madubuike and Derek Wolfe would be the pass rushers on the inside. And will that be able to get the job done? And will that allow this defense to be good enough to win the Super Bowl? Now, that is a key factor. Will this defense be really good? Yes. Yes. Will it be good enough to win the Super Bowl? That is the question that we need to be answering in these types of videos, because the Ravens defense has been very good for a very long amount of time. Ever since Wink Martindale got to Baltimore, their defense has been very good. They haven't had very good sack production and things like that. They haven't had like a dominant edge rusher, but the defense has been pretty good. Not good enough to win a Super Bowl. Why? Because the defense heavily struggles against the Chiefs. Now, I've talked about it plenty of times, but why does the Ravens defense struggle against the Chiefs? It's because they cannot get pressure on Patrick Mahomes quickly enough. And even with the great cornerbacks and secondary and schemes that the Ravens defense has, it can't keep up with Tyreek Hill. And, formerly they used to have Sammy Watkins and Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson and Travis Kelce. It's just very difficult to cover. Very few defenses can do it. The Bucs defense did it last year. Shout out to the Bucs defense. The offense also played well. So when I say, is the Ravens defense good enough to win the Super Bowl, the real question is, the way that the Ravens defense has been the last few years, they can shut down every single offense besides the Chiefs. They've done that. You may look at the Bills game last year and be like, oh, the Ravens, offense struggled. Their defense balled out. It's just against the Chiefs that the Ravens defense has struggled. Yes, they've had their struggles against the Titans, but look what happened in the playoffs. They balled out. The Ravens defense just needs to be good enough to beat the Chiefs, because the secondary is going to be good enough to beat any other team. It's all about the pass rush, and will that, committee pass rush be able to be good enough to stop the Chiefs? Because that's what the Bucs had. Yes, their committee was very, very good. Shaq Barrett is a dominant edge rusher. He's not a top 5 edge rusher, but he's dominant. He's arguably top 10. But then they had JPP. They had a lot of guys. I mean, it wasn't just JPP and Shaq Barrett. They also had Ndamukong Suh. Like, they had plenty of guys going after, and it was a committee job. But a lot of great defenses in history were committee jobs. Look at the 2007 Giants. Look at both the Giants teams that won the Super Bowl. Just, Justin Tuck, Michael Strahan, Osi Umenyiora, like those defenses. It's a committee, but they're really good players. The Ravens don't have those levels of players. However, they still have a good committee of players. Now, I'm going to go over what they had last year. They had 39 sacks last year. That was 13th in the NFL. I'm sorry, that was 14th in the NFL last season in sacks. The Ravens had 39. The NFL leader was Pittsburgh with 56, because and then the Rams. Well, who do those guys have? The two leaders in Defensive Player of the Year voting, obviously in T.J. Watt and Aaron Donald. Having really good guys helps get sacks. But on the Ravens defense, it was by committee last year, even though the Ravens had Matt Judon and Yannick Ngakoue. So going through it, I'll only go through the main guys. I'm not going to talk about a lot of other guys. Matthew Judon led the team with 6 sacks. 6 sacks led the team. That is you can't do that. Then Calais Campbell had 4 sacks. Patrick Queen had 3. Pernell McPhee had 3. Jihad Ward had 3. Yannick Ngakoue had 3. Now, he came in late. Marlon Humphrey, 2.5. Deshaun Elliott, 2.5. Chris Board, 2.5. Tyus Bowser, 2. Jalen Ferguson, 2. Derek Wolfe had 1. And Justin Madubuike had 1. There were other guys that had sacks. However, I'm just going over the players that, are important. Like, Marcus Peters has sack. But you look at what the Ravens are going to do. They've lost 2 of those guys. They lost 9 sacks out of Matt Judon. And, they also lost Jihad Ward. So they lost 12 sacks. So 6, 9, 12. That's 12 sacks. That's about 30% of the sacks that they had last year that they have now lost. 30%. How are they going to make that up? They've made some additions. They have Odafe Oweh. They have Dalen Hayes. Now, it may not seem like, Odafe Oweh is going to be able to replace Matthew Judon or Yannick Ngakoue or somebody like that. However, I think not in the way that they play. Odafe Oweh is not going to be a guy, most likely, that is going to come in and be able to fully get around, play, snap the ball, get into a one-on-one, and then just beat somebody. That's how Matthew Judon will be able to get sacks when it wasn't, a coverage sack or whatever. It's him beating the guy. Odafe Oweh is going to be getting sacks off of pure athleticism and getting by the offensive tackle, especially when the Ravens blitz, because Wake Martindale loves to blitz. He blitzes, I believe, the most in the NFL. Maybe it's second or third most, but it's by far one of the heaviest blitz-heavy defenses in the NFL. And Odafe Oweh, imagine you have Patrick Queen, who, 3 sacks last year, top on the team, third on the team. You can blitz Patrick Queen. Well, now it's one-on-one with everybody. Odafe Oweh can get around that guy. He can get you 6 sacks. He can absolutely get you 6 sacks. He can replace Matthew Judon in that. Yannick Ngakoue, that's going to have to be collective. Now, if you guys have seen the movie Moneyball, this is how the Ravens have to be thinking. They lost Giambi, in Moneyball. And they're like, how are we going to replace, I don't remember his batting average, 343, with all of this. But they lost 2 other guys. Remember, I don't remember their names. They're not as important as Giambi. But what they say is, Brad Pitt in that movie says we have to recreate them in the aggregate. The players that we replaced, the players that we lost, must replace those level of sacks, if not better. So we lost 12 sacks. Judon, Ngakoue, Ward. 3 guys. So that means we need to make up 4 sacks through 3 players each. Odafe Oweh can get you 4 sacks easily. I said he can get you 6 right there. Then you look at a guy, Justin Madubuike. I would expect him to increase his sack total. I would. Maybe that's 1 or 2 more sacks. Boom. That's 6 or 8 sacks out of the 12 that we need to recreate. Then you look at Calais Campbell, who missed a fair amount of time. He only played in 12 games last year. Well, he can get you a couple more sacks. He can get you 6. Boom. That's like 8 or 10 sacks that you've recreated. Then you look at the guys that need to step up. And there are plenty of players on this roster that can step up in the pass rush department, most particularly Jalen Ferguson. He only had 2 sacks last year. He only had 1 start. 1 start. He's going to get starts. And he's going to get significant time. And he can definitely increase his sack totals. He could get 4 or maybe even 5 sacks because he's going to be given the opportunities. And boom, that right there is the aggregate of making up 12 sacks. The pass rush will not be worse than what it was last year. It won't. I know a lot of people will think it is. However, you just got to look at Moneyball, recreate it in the aggregate. The Ravens can absolutely do that. Now, whether or not that will be good enough is yet to be determined, because remember, we still have the problem of beating the Chiefs. But that's where I think Odafe Oweh comes in. Now, this isn't a prediction video of like, oh, the Ravens can absolutely beat the Chiefs. However, it is a possibility that Odafe Oweh could be very good against the Chiefs, because he would be so good at sealing the edge and getting around even guys like Orlando Brown Jr., who is a slower offensive tackle, like using that speed on the edge, which is unlike anything that the Ravens maybe have ever had, really that the NFL has ever had. It's going to allow him to get off the line. What happened in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs? It wasn't even points where, Shaq Barrett just completely beat the guy, just picked him up and threw him off the side. No, it was that guy didn't touch Shaq Barrett off the edge, and they got around. Like, that's what the Ravens need to do, and that's what they have in Odafe Oweh. And I think that could allow them to beat the Chiefs with this defense. Now, those are my takes on it. If you guys don't like the analogy, I think it's a great analogy of, Giambi and recreating the aggregate. Great movie. If you haven't seen Moneyball, go check it out. But let me know what you guys think. Will pass rush by committee work for the Ravens? I believe it will. I think it will allow them to have a chance to beat the Chiefs. Now, will they beat the Chiefs? I cannot say for sure. We don't know 100% what Odafe Oweh will be. We don't know what these guys will be. However, I think there's a very good chance that we recreate the players we lost in the aggregate, and the Ravens are able to have a Super Bowl caliber defense. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Make sure to come through to the live with the viewers, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.